videos, okay? So if you want to do this successfully, I recommend watching the first video and the second video. Now, that's not for likes and clicks and comments even, right? It is to aid you in getting to the finish that we're going to do here today, yeah? You'll see at the end of this video that this job turns out perfect. So we got stuck in with the welding up of this and what it takes to get it welded up without destroying and warping and distortion, because that's what we're covering in this one, yeah? All the principles of heat distortion and how, you know, you can regulate that, yeah? Okay, guys. Hi guys, welcome back. So, in the last video, right, looking good, isn't it? In the last video, right, we made this panel. We done loads of stuff in the last couple of videos. Well, there's two, okay? So this is the third video, this is the final video of this series as regards how to go about doing this job, yeah? And what I would say to you is that to get to this stage, okay, all the tips and tricks are in the previous two videos, okay? So if you want to do this successfully, I recommend watching the first video and the second video. Now, that's not for likes and clicks and comments even, right? It is to aid you in getting to the finish that we're going to do here today, yeah? You'll see at the end of this video that this job turns out perfect. And it's because of all the preconditions that I've mentioned in the last video and the very first video. So if you've never cut into a panel and it's your first time, or and also I would say, guys, that you can see what we've going on here. And in the last video I covered making this piece, right, which is a simple little bend really, but nonetheless I give, you know, detail and advice. I would say that it doesn't matter what car or van or truck that you want to do this to. It's the same what I've given in the last two videos and in this video to finish it, right? This one is going to be about the welding of it, yeah? Just welding. Everything else is taken care of now. And it's all that other stuff that's in the other two videos. I keep saying it because this is a package of three. And without one or two and jump to this one, well, this is purely about the welding side of it. But all the preparation has gone into, all the preparation has gone into the last video and the previous one about how we got to this stage and all the steps that it takes, you know, to get to now the welding section, yeah? So, like I say, it doesn't matter if it's a Morris Minor or, you know, whatever, an MG Midget or anything, any make or model of car, right? I'm trying to think of loads of names of, you know, cars now, but it doesn't really matter, you know, car, van or truck. This is a repair. This is the kind of a repair that you can actually do yourself and you don't have to be qualified as such, yeah? So we're going to jump in on this now, guys, and we're going to take it forward. We have to obviously, right, we've done the inside and now we need to do the inside of the new panel, okay? So we need to protect this so that it doesn't rust out going forward, right? Like what we've done here with everything else. We'll use the same products again, and then we're going to be welding it in, yeah? So the next step, I suppose, is to get this painted. While this is being, you know, obviously I'm going to leave it dry, but we've got a very tight scribe line along here. So if you haven't been watching, this is how we've gone about making the patch panel, okay? So what happens here, guys, if you're not going to go back I can briefly say this bit. The patch panel, our final panel, is bigger than our cutout, okay? So again, there's more tips and tricks about, you know, we started off with this, guys, yeah? This little piece, and it was only a hole the size of my thumb, and I go through it all, and I did last week, and then we needed, you know, we took out this, and I showed you about, you know, areas that were vulnerable, etc. Pitting, all explained about pitting, yeah? So you saw me making holes in that, and finally we had to take this big chunk out, okay? So because we chased the rust basically, and I show you how to do that as well. So all these tips and tricks are in the previous ones and how you go about it. Finally, this panel, guys, goes on here like that. The secret here is it's oversize. So it's a little oversize, and then we scribe around, which we did in the last video, okay? But just to bring anybody up to speed here, it's fractionally oversized for what we want. We measured it, and now we've got this going on. And then with our scribe, okay, not a marker. Again, I've given all this detail, not a marker. We scribe all the way around it. And then we have our line to now make our new cut, okay? So that brings everybody up to date. Let's crack on with what we have to do in this one, okay? Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the back end, yeah? Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget that. And if you found this bit really interesting so far, then go down and hit the like button straight away, because you know what you're doing? You're thanking me for my, you know, contributions, okay? That's all it is. It's free to do. And if you haven't subscribed, then please subscribe and follow on with the restoration of this and the next one on, okay? There's lots to come. So we got stuck in with the welding up of this and what it takes to get it welded up without destroying and warping and distortion, because that's what we're covering in this one, yeah? All the principles of heat distortion and how, you know, you can regulate that, yeah? Okay, guys. Okay, guys, so this is the outside of the panel. You can see how shiny it is, yeah? And that's the inside of the panel, okay? So our product there is Corrust, right? Which neutralizes all the rust, basically, yeah? Now, there was no rust to neutralize, but there is also a seal on this, okay? And the seal prevents any moisture getting through into the steel. So that's a precautionary measure, obviously, but that's how we do it. The next one is Galvafried. I've covered all of those in the past videos, so I'm going to be putting Galvafried on here. You're going to ask, well, what's the border here? Well, that's masking tape, okay? So it's about 3 mil, or like an 1/8 of an inch, and all the way around, and that's to prevent the metal getting contaminated, because the next product on here is Galvafried, which is like galvanized, and what you see here, right, all in the pocket as well, so it's all protected. Galvafried on here next, and then we're ready to, that's ready, okay? That's ready for welding, yeah? So that's it, guys. You can't weld, okay? You will not weld galvanized, or it all has to be cleaned back, okay? So that's the process thus far. Okay, guys, I've done this many times already, but just to show you that I did say as well, the scribe does not lie. The line does not lie, okay? So it's flush here, and we made this edge here along here, okay? And that's our scribe line, okay? I'm getting underneath it. And every time you put that line there, it's exactly the same cut, okay? So now we're going to cut it out and take it from there. Also now, I have the inside of my panel done, okay? So, I don't know if you can see that, yeah? You can make that out. This is the outside of the panel. That's the bottom of the panel, yeah? Nice fit. We take it over to here, we butt it up against that. So that's our, this is what dictates this edge over here, guys. Yeah. I was going to take you off and just show you, but I need 4 hands, guys. So yeah, it's flush there. Nice seam all the way along, and that dictates, yeah, that's it. Remember in the last video, we covered all about that. So, I'm going to cut it out now, guys. We have our paint done. We have the crust tailing off here underneath, right? So it kind of comes to the edge. I'm going to have to clean it off a little bit because you cannot weld contaminants. That's what I keep saying to you. If you notice in this one, you cannot weld contaminants, yeah? First and most important rule, if ever you want to go welding, guys, that's where you're going to have all your problems. Paint, primers, oil, water, grease, underbody seal, you name it. The list is long, and it's obvious when you start playing with metal and you start welding panels, you will soon find out that you're not a welder. You cannot weld. Or you'll tell yourself all this stuff, guys. You know, you'll just say, well, I can't seem to do it right, or that's the very reason why it doesn't work out, okay? You know, and it would make you sick, you know, because, but if you deal with that, clean metal, you'll have no issues. I keep saying that because it is, guys, it's a simple thing, but it's one of the most important things. You will never be a welder, and you can never weld if you haven't got clean metal. That's it. Okay, guys, we're going to offer it up and see how we are. Right. Okay, so along the top, feels perfect, which is, of course, the most vulnerable area is from here to here. Yeah, because that's the panel, as I've discussed in the last. I keep referring to the last video, guys. Down this side is good. We need to bring it out a bit here, like so. So this stage, guys, is about assessing all the areas that need attention, right? And what you do, it seems a bit long, like I said, right? Now, because it's not sitting in at the bottom just yet. So you assess what kind of, how long is it, right? So there's a little piece to come off of here on the right hand side, which we can trim off of here or here. I can still see the line, the cut line there, right? So, you know, just for example, this is what we're talking about. Okay, let's just see what that's done for it. You see, this is what I'm talking about. They're only little smidgens, you know, microns is all, because you're cutting to the line. Yeah? You're cutting to a scribe line. So, and I can still see the scribe line along there for about an inch. So that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of, the level of, you know, you can be as, again, I can see the scribe line up here. Just the line, yeah? But it seems like it needs a little bit of a, next thing is right here, it needs massaging. And this is what I said, you know, what we're doing is we're putting a little bit more of the bend into it, yeah? And believe it or not, guys, that will shorten this panel because what, you know, because you're bending it more, it brings in the edges more, yeah? Like if we kept going, this edge and this edge would be up here, you know, if we just kept going. So it shortens it. I hope that explains that, you know? So you need your panel to be like 99% right. You know, you don't want to be making this adjustment too much of an adjustment afterwards, because then it'll be just too small, it'll be too short. Now it looks like, you know, this is all about fitment, and now it looks right. Yeah, it looks right. It's following the contour all the way down here. And actually, we're ready to slip in there apart from a little piece along here. Okay, so and this is the kind of, you keep doing this until your panel just sits in nice. Yeah, we know we have the shape over on the left hand side here. Yeah. So I think that covers fitment, okay? And the little bits that you have to do just to get it. So there's another bit along here, guys. Yeah. Now you could, like I said, you could take it off your panel here. You know, it's 50-50. We can try that now. Four or five rubs along the edges all, yeah? And the slightest little bit of a bend, I think, just like we did up at the left side. And yeah, you don't want to force it in, but there's no harm in just seeing how, you know, when you do. Yeah, there's definitely a bit more to come off of that, guys. Okay, guys, I've moved you around a little so you can get a better idea and a better view of what's going on. Now, like I say, I've massaged different areas. Fettling is what it's known as, yeah? To try and get the perfect fit, okay? And in all the separate little areas that need attention to get the perfect fit, right? And I might add, we don't have it right there. I'll get into that in a minute. I accidentally, right, instead of taking off a piece here, I took off a little piece here. Yeah? easy thing to happen. Even when you're, you know, when you've got experience of it. But, and ideally, you know, you would put a little T here for top, and that would solve the problem. But, you know, when you're dealing with 3 or 4 or 5 different areas that need a little bit taken off just to make the perfect fit, sometimes happens, yeah, that you take it off in the wrong place. So that has happened to us here, guys, in the sense that we have a little gap here. Okay, you can see my thumbnail going in there maybe. Yeah, a little gap. So, you know, it's a 1 mil gap all day long, definitely 1 mil. So, but it's not the end of the world. Now, here's what you're looking for, guys, okay? That's flush. That's nice. And you can even let it out a little bit here, and that's flush. And then what you would do is push it in here where it's a little bit out. Push it in here after you tack that, and that's how you get your, right? However, here, there's so, you know, when I press on it, or when I did press on it anyway, okay, we've got it out at that now. So everything must feel smooth and flush. That's the finish we need to get on this, guys. Yeah, so it is going in a little bit for me now. I was going to say, and what I was going to do and show you, is that what you could do is, you see now, imagine there's an axis here anyway. There is, right? I'm not asking you to imagine that. But imagine that this is a letterbox, the flap on a post box, okay? So this was my way of doing it and showing you. Now, right there, which gives us a 1/2 inch gap down here, but right there, that's smooth. That is perfect. Now, I was failing to just get that before I pressed record, but that's smooth. But you see what happens when we close the letterbox fully? We've got that little, like I said, there's a little ledge. Get in my nail. Yeah, just there. You could also just, you know, also just very lightly. But we don't want to do that, you know. So, like I say, the way of doing it would be, you know, you bring it out on the bottom, center it, there, right? And you would just tack it there, yeah? And it will pull the rest of it out as it comes, yeah? And you press where it needs to be. So any place where this panel is out to you, that's where you tack it. And where this panel is in, you press it until everything is smooth, yeah? And that, my friends, is how we will go about tacking this now, okay? So there's this to deal with now, a little bit of paint required here. We also, remember, I asked you to remind me, we need to mark up this and get this area and a little 6 mil hole here for the plug weld, the only plug weld that's going on it. But guys, that will stiffen up, you know, from there to there. Again, from here to here, we won't have to worry too much because we have this corner here as well. Yeah, I explained all that. So really the most vulnerable area in this whole aperture, right, is from here to here. That's the most vulnerable area. Yeah, everything else, and I give all the reasons why, everything else is solid. And now that we took the final cut out here, okay, remember I said to you, yeah, because we have this corner here going on, right, here, and then coming out, and also, you know, the contour here makes it stronger, you know. If you imagine you're pushing this, look, but because there's an arc on it, it's already strong. Because we've got all the angles going on, it's already strong. Because this whole area here is folded again, that's folded, this is now folded, then there is more strength. And that's why we went down. Yeah, but that's all, those are all covered. And again, look at this. So that's why I say to you guys that this will be, yeah, 99% perfect, right? Because there's nothing 100% perfect, you know. Not even the original panel, guys, was 100% perfect, believe it or not. Yeah, everything is 99%. So we'll be putting it back as good as it was. See, that's what I'm talking about. So plug weld, which stiffens it up there. Little bit of paint. And I really have, and I would say it again, watch the other two videos, guys, from scratch. If it's your first time on here and you haven't seen, or you've just found this video and it's your first time, you know, this is a 3-part series, all of it, because yeah, that's what's brought us to this level here, right? So let's just do this and this now, and we'll get welding, yeah? Okay, I've dropped the lights, guys, on the situation just so that you can get a look at that, okay? It's another little important feature to make sure that your panel, you know, your panel before you fit it actually makes the grade, okay? So it's a good idea to put a rule or something with, you know, a proper straight edge, just to make sure, and manipulate your panel, you know, just so that you get the 100% before you start off, yeah? And then after you weld it, and if it's distorted, you know who to blame, you know? The panel was good going on is all you know, and then you try and maintain that throughout, yeah? So, you know, it's just so you know before you fit the panel that the panel was right, yeah? And yeah, the panel was right. Incidentally, before I cut open, I also made sure, you know, how good the panel was. And I can tell you that both these panels, okay, left and right side, they both have a little curvature that goes in. You know, if I take you off, I don't want to spend a lot of time, guys, but if I took you off the, yeah, I'll do that because I just want to show you so you know, so that if you're ever on this particular okay, guys, wouldn't you know it, the light just goes out. Anyway, does it matter? I don't know. There you go, you can see that. Now if I move over here, this is what we're looking at as I go down. Can you see, guys? Like we're just breaking in there to where the paint has been taken off for the repair, yeah? But if we go across, you'll see there's a gap, yeah? I think maybe if I move up, yeah, so you can see it better maybe there, yeah? That's what we're talking about. That's where the two panels meet, yeah? Here and here, yeah? So, just thought I'd show you that bit so you know, even higher up the bus, midways in the panel there, look. Yeah, you've got that gap. Okay, guys, just to show you what we're on there, I'm going to give it a 1.2. So this little light down here, right, signifies material thickness, just left of the A here, okay? And I'm saying 1.2 millimeters. And if we twist this knob, right, that takes it up and down. So I'm going to leave it around 1.2 millimeters, yeah? We press this, we highlight the center one, which is amps, yeah? And we're hitting around 57 amps there, okay? And if we hit this button again, we've got 6.6 meters of wire spooling off, yeah? A minute. So 1.2 millimeters, yeah? So it's a little hot. It's better to fire in a hot spot or a hot tack, you know, on 1 millimeter. It's microns of time we're talking about, and the faster you can actually get your tack in. And split second stuff, you'll see it now. Trigger action is actually split second stuff, guys. So I think we're ready to weld. I've got the little hole drilled out there now. Yeah, shut some of this light off, guys, sorry. I've got the little hole drilled out there. I've got a couple of magnets holding our piece. That's nice, you know, flush. That's what we'll be feeling for. Also, guys, don't forget another tip in this one as regards the welding. If the panel needs pulling out to you, well, then use your magnet. You know, that's what a magnet does. It grips on and it pulls. I know you know what a magnet does, but you don't forget, you know, the versatility of them, or, you know, how you can multiple uses. This is one use, yeah, pretty handy. I don't recommend it going too close to the magnet, right? It tends to pull your weld. So, yeah, everything is feeling nice now, yeah? And I'm just going to get ready for weld, and we're going to start welding this, yeah? Okay. It's all nice and smooth now. I'm happy with it, yeah? So, and that's the only time you can say you're ready to weld, is when you're happy with everything, yeah? Okay. Okay, guys. Time for the glove. Now, we have air here beside us, okay? I'm just hanging it here. Yeah, and the essential thing here, guys, before we ever start is, you know, you have to keep these tacks cool, okay? That's the first thing. We have to keep everything cool. The second thing is, where do we start from? Now, you could start from any place, right? But I was going to start here, yeah? I think I still will, just there. I also think I should start maybe at 6 o'clock here, okay? It's always nice to have a pendulum. I mentioned that before. A pendulum helps, you know? If you put a tack, depending on the situation, guys, but I've explained it anyway, you know? 6 o'clock here gives us a nice pendulum. Yeah, you can't really go left and right in this situation, but there are other situations where a pendulum is really, you know, beneficial to you. So now, guys, even off camera, I've gone over this, you know, I've checked it. So, you know, check more than what you see me doing, okay, is what I would say. Yeah. So I showed you the settings. 57 amps, guys, so it's not even 60, which again, you know, 57 amps. We'll see how we go. We might turn it up to 1.3. We'll see how these tacks are after we get into this, okay? So there's the perfect, you know, right there. So I think I'll go with that for the first one, yeah? That's a little tight. So you will get drawn, you know. There's no hard and fast rule as regards, guys. Right, I feel that there now, and that's just slipped in, and this is nice. So yeah, that has to be pushed in right there. So if you push in, then you have to pull out. I'm going to put the first one there. I like that. Yeah, it was a little problem here earlier. Okay. You can see I've got my thumb, and now I'm starting to feel the heat. Look, right? 5 seconds and it should be. Now, guys, that is perfect, okay? When we go metal finishing after, it's essential that you have that. Because when you're metal finishing, everything has to be flush. If you have one side that's higher than the other, you're taking all the metal off until you get down to this. When you want to be able to make a nice finish and you sand it, and it looks like just the paint has been taken back, that there was never a repair there, the paint has just been taken back on it, you have to have those two surfaces, okay? So that's essential. They just have to be like that. Another way of, if I have my small rule here, I'll try with the big one even. I should have a small rule here. I always have a rule as a rule. Okay, guys, look, another way is have your, I'm going to get my small rule now anyway, but see that? Now, if I take my thumb off, see? So you cannot have that. It has to be like that, okay? It has to be like that. Okay. So if I do, I know I'm blocking you out, guys. If I do that, and I put my shroud next to it, and if I could see where my wire is, yeah, I could just, like that. Next thing, of course, I can talk to you, but I need to cool it. Yeah, 5 seconds. Now, guys. Yeah. And this is really a little pointy even, okay? Now, you're going to have that anyway because of the shape of the bus, but guess what? That little point, that's tiny, tiny ridge, a point, like here. It's kind of pronounced there, you could kind of see it, but when this weld, right, it's going to suck it in, okay? So some of you might not know, but here's my example, okay? So what happens, metal, when you heat it up, okay? What happens it? You know, does it shrink or does it stretch? Or I know this is basic, but this is what it's for, and this is, you know, who it's at. Guys who don't have this done. That's what these videos are about. That's what the channel is about. If you got a football, okay, and you kicked it, and it went into a big bonfire. You know a bonfire, you know, like a beach party, and you got your fire, and the ball goes in the fire, okay? Yeah, ball goes in the fire, and it's a plastic ball, okay? So next morning, you go over to the fire, and you see this plastic thing, okay? All shriveled up, and it's now this size, okay? That's the size of the plastic football that went in the fire last night at the party, okay? That's the size of the football. Now, guys, a football is this size. Now it's this size. So what happened because of the heat? It shrunk. So you won't ever forget now, you know, because there's lots of things with metallurgy that you don't know, is it the one reaction or is it the other? There's lots in metallurgy. So now you can remember, if you kick a football into a fire, it's a plastic football, it shrinks to 1/10 of the size that it was before. I know it's inflated, but that's not the point. You know, it's like when the plastic bonds, when anything bonds, it gets smaller. That's the point. It shrinks. So remember, guys, this is what we're doing now, really. You know, hopefully we won't do too much bonding, but what I'm trying to say is that we're heating it up. And when you heat something up, it shrinks. Yeah? So you have to remember that. Yeah? So now, what I'm doing, guys, is as well, eyes. And because if we put all these tacks along the top now, okay, is another thing. It is pulling it. So now look at the bottom. The bottom was a little tight. When you remember before when I pushed the bottom in, the top kind of flipped out a bit. Yeah? Now it's sitting in. So that's another reason I put the tacks in along the top. Yeah? And this now, guys, if you remember, we said this is the most vulnerable area. So you'll see a little resistance as well, guys. Now you won't, because the wire is clean, okay? And now look, and watch the length of time I am pulling the trigger here. So I'm lining up, I'm using my hand to rest it, okay? And I have it right in the middle. And that's the tack. That's the tack, okay? The metal is cold. This is how we must go, guys. Yeah? I said you can use your magnet to pull. Yeah. Another thing, right? The magnet, you can use it to pull the metal out, okay? There's more uses. Most times there's more uses for one item, you know. So that doesn't need any magnet on it, okay? So we can put another tack. Now, guys, another reason I'm kind of concentrating here. Do you know, you've been following, I said from the spot weld, which we're going to put here, to this area here is the most vulnerable. And this panel is cold as cold. Okay? So we're concentrating from here to here. And the reason for that is because the more heat we put in around this panel, we know that this panel fits now. Yeah? And it's sitting in perfectly. So if we concentrate here, yeah, our heat and distortion right now, we can fly along this area, okay? So again, how you spend time and where you spend time and why you spend time. So if you spend time in the more vulnerable areas and deal with those before there's any other heat gone into the panel, you're actually doing yourself a massive favor. You know, I said, I always will as well. Assessment and logic, how and why is the best place to be at when you're at it? Was there a reason for it? Did you even just, you know, did you not think about it before you go at it? And most people don't. They just go at it. A lot of people don't go at, you know, they don't think it, you know, in that way. But again, that's the reason, you know. There's always, like, you see what I mean? Look, I hope you can see that action, what's going on here, right? But I will be able to put my little scribe in here and pull it out, and I can come down along here. We know that's rigid. We know this is all rigid, and we know that this little shoulder, this little corner piece is probably the strongest of all, okay? So we're going to concentrate here, and then we'll carry on like that, yeah? Snip the wire because it's clean. Guys, I think also just along here I might keep it at 1.2, but I'm actually thinking of going to 1.3 because I'd rather it faster and harder. I'll show you another little thing as well in a while about these spots and what I do and why I do it. Okay, so bring that up there. Okay, one here. That's it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This looks okay. It's going in here, but I think that's the panel itself. Yeah. Here's where it needs to be, kind of where we can hopefully, you know, keep it looking good. There's no heat in it yet, guys, but it's no harm, you know. My gauges, did you hear my gauge? My gauge is getting lazy. Yeah, one there at the end. Nice. Yeah, I know there's penetration in that. Okay. I haven't cleaned the wire. Did you hear the very first time it sparked up? It goes boop, and then boop, it welds then. Now, because I spoke to you, can you see the heat ring around this? Okay? Mistake. Yeah? Mistake. The heat ring's spreading around it. Yeah? Because I didn't heat it. I didn't cool it as soon as I should have. And, guys, it had 2 attempts to fire in there. That's what I'm talking about. That's how important it is to have that clean, especially what we're doing now. Right? Especially what we're doing now. Because you get the first pull of your trigger and then you really need to let it go. You don't need your wire down at the other end here going boop because it's dirty wire. And then the second, I know we're talking milliseconds here, but then it takes in. And that's the result, the difference. Yeah? There is no heat ring around these spots. This one you can clearly see it. Yeah? This one maybe a little bit. Yeah? Now, this is weak. We've cut out there. If you remember, we drilled out the 6mm. And look what the heat mark does. You see how it travelled towards the hole. Because there was no more metal there. Yeah? Where the 6mm hole is for the plug weld. You know? Yeah. That's really good. Now this, to me, looks like it's in a bit. So again, we could maybe clean that magnet. Maybe the magnet can help us here. Yeah, see? You can see that, guys. It's actually quite good. Yeah, it's on the side. It needs maybe coming out a bit. So we'll get that in there now. Yeah. No glove. Don't do it, Joe. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this panel, I didn't get my small rule, guys, and I'm amazed because I have 2 or 3 and it just needs to be brought out a little, yeah? Okay. There's a bit of a gap here, guys, so I'm just gonna, that's why the gun is at the angle it is, just to drop that in there like that. I can guarantee you that's full penetration there. Yeah, 100% penetration. And you don't have to have 100% penetration along there, guys. But if you look at the start of the video, I know that's relevant to this video now, but maybe not in the future. But if you look at the start, right, all of that metal was kind of, there was no gap. You know, the little piece that's in the vise that you see me, it's on the very start. It says penetration. So that's what we get on in a butt situation. Yeah? A butt joint situation. Okay. And if one won't pull out the panel, guys, yeah, try two. Yeah, I would imagine you have twice the strength with both magnets. Dirty wire. Yeah. I'm not rushing this, guys, because okay, go above it. Yeah, it's okay. And again, dirty wire, which never left the little pool, the little blob you saw. I put it back on. Too much. You can go around now at this stage and any place you like, really. Just make sure it's all good. It's all good along there. It's sticking out here right on the corner. That's right up against the bottom of the seat post. That's why, guys, yeah? And that is why. Which is brilliant, isn't it? You don't have to worry too much down there. Yep. Eyes. Bottom is going to be nice, guys. I know how it's looking already. And how it's, you know, how it's welding in. Or tacking in. Yeah? Okay. That's it, guys. Clean wire, yeah? I'm going to put it up to 1.3, guys. Okay. A little bit faster. And a little bit hotter. Okay, so just in case. That's 64 amps, 1.3 mil. 64 amps, and you'll just see a little bit of a difference in it, like that. Yeah. Cleaner spot, yeah, faster as well. Go in the middle of them. That's really sinking in those spots, oh yeah. Right, or a little bit more wire here. We're going in a hole, yeah. Okay guys, I've had some battery issues, so I've been working away there. As you can see, right, about every inch and a half inch in some places, and less, a quarter of an inch in some places. So there's no real, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you have the strength, you don't have to be that, you know, concerned. Yeah, so, you know, you can just put your spots in, cool them. Each spot I put in, I cool it, yeah? And it's just going around it and continuing to do that. Obviously, the more vulnerable place, like I said, we've put in the early spots and we started there early to do that, right? Which is important. I've also, if you notice now, I've just started to grind down, yeah, the spots. And I will continue to do that as well, right? Just take some of them down. And there's a reason for that as well, because when you're putting in the next spot in the middle, it goes in and you get better penetration, yeah? So you take down the meat of the tack, yeah, or the spot. You take the meat off of it, okay? Because if you look sideways at that, you'll see, you know, some of them, you know, they're quite thick, yeah? Here on the plug weld, what I've done is I've put the tack inside, not wanting to connect onto the outer panel, just build the inside and bring it out. And I've done 2 tacks like that, and the third tack has got us this situation where it's just started to flow around and pick this up now. So that's, you know, that's going to be solid. Like I said, we know that that area there is solid, is going to be solid anyway. So, you know, giving this, you know, our utmost attention from there to there. That's really, and there's nothing else I could, you know, if the battery will hold on, you know, or stay going, I could speed this up. But yeah, there's nothing more to it now. The next, there's no more secrets in it. You know, we've got it all smooth, and those are the essential, you know, components to a successful joint, and obviously paying attention to where the most vulnerable part of it is, right? So whether or not I'll continue on, we'll see. I mean, you know, filming me just spotting, because I'll put a spot here next, and then, you know, I'll put a spot here, and then I'll put a spot here, and then I'll put a spot down here, and I will continue on in that fashion, guys. Yeah. So rather than you watching all of that going on, the critical bits I've covered. Now I'm going to just continue on spotting around, okay, until I have the whole thing. I'll bring you back then, you know, before I start to polish it and take it down, yeah, and present it. So that's what it looks like, guys. And I'll just continue on spotting around, yeah, at distance, keeping them cool. You know, that takes time, guys, but then you get the finish, you know, you get the factory finish, yeah. Like I said, you won't even know that panel was put in there. It'll just look like someone took all the paint off, yeah. Rubbed it back just to see. So anyway, we'll continue on with that process, yeah. just to get you a little closer and give you an eyeball. So every tack, and there's a tack in the middle, yeah, as we go along. And that's pretty much closed it all in. That's where we ground, yeah. There's another tack, look, can you see? There's a tack required there and there, okay? And you basically just go along and make sure that there's, you know, that all the tacks and the middle tacks are on top to close it, okay? Now this doesn't look pretty, but and we're going to linish all this, or, you know, dress it, take it back. So there's a few more tacks, if you can see in there. Little gap. And here, look. Okay. And there's 1, 2 there. And we're pretty much... So that's how you'll know. I would imagine, you know, to get round that, we said it was 10 inches by 4.5-ish. I would imagine that was like, I'm going to say an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. Yeah. You know, going around and cooling. Yeah. But yeah, it just feels nice at the moment. We won't know until we, you know, get back down. And then maybe we might have to put some other little tacks in it. Yeah. If we see any pinholes. Also, you can put a light in the back. Sometimes you can access, if you have access to the back, it's a good idea to put a light in the back, yeah? And then you'll see the light coming through if there is any pinholes, right? That's another little tip. So, yeah, we'll get on to grind it now, grind it all back, take it back to almost, yeah, that's what I'll be doing, you know? And then just ever so carefully just take it down to the flush. And that's how we get that done, yeah? We don't go crazy grinding, yeah? We take it down, take off the heaviest of it, but you do not, you know, reach this panel or this panel just yet. You get down to microns, and then, you know, get a better grit and, you know, a more stabilized way of taking it down flush. But we'll cover that in the metal finishing section. So that's coming up next, yeah? Okay, guys, I've got a 60 grit on here, yeah? And it's a new one, okay? So we're going to be very gentle with that, yeah? Okay. I'm going to show you how okay, so that's the kind of finish we're talking about now. You can still see the little spots, yeah, all those tacks, yeah. And that's the level I'm going down to. There's a shadow on it, but that's the kind of level I'm talking about, right? We're almost down now, yeah, to the new metal. Here we've actually married it in, okay? Almost. There's still some there. So that's the final polish, yeah, on an 80 grit. So we'll take it down more. I'll continue to do that for a while. It's kind of boring just watching that, but I'll do the bottom and I'll bring it all along like this and then just take it down another bit, okay? So that's the stages. You want to go down to about that level and then change over to an 80 grit, yeah? A smaller disc if you have it, or I have this like pad 80 grit, yeah? So, you know, and I'll just take that down again. I'll concentrate just on the spots, yeah? And until such time as I'm, you know, just getting flush with the two. And that gets us our finish on it. Lots of grinding and stuff, so I'll, you know, you don't have to watch me grinding, obviously. Yeah? But, like, these are the stages that you'll take it down to. Yeah? So it's almost... Yeah, you can just feel it. And then change to an 80 is what I'd say. And then any little pinholes, like there's a pinhole there, right? And a pinhole there and a pin, well, there, yeah. There's two, at the moment, there's two pinholes showing themselves, and there'll be more, yeah? Then just touch those in, and that's pretty much, yeah? There's a little pinhole there, pinhole there, pinhole there, and there. Yeah, there's a few here. Okay. As we go along the bottom, there's a few little tacks that need to be put in now. You can see clearly where the tacks have not been put in. Yeah. And here, the dark spots, guys. Yeah. Little dark spots. Yeah. But overall, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. I don't feel any real distortion. Yeah. So I'll go and put the tacks into it, right? A few tacks at the bottom, and there's little pinholes here, just the slightest little tack on them, and I'll dress all that in. Okay. I'm working at the bottom, as you saw at the moment, right? So there's a few tacks to go in, so I have to cool those and, you know, put the tacks in here, and that's it really. Yeah. That's what it looks like now. Just to show you guys the amount of yeah, little, we won't call them repairs, they're just, you know, the pinholes that show up, right? That's normal, unless you were TIG welding maybe, and even then you're not, you know, guaranteed. But okay, so along the bottom, yeah. I would just grind those back now again. And we're done. That's that panel. I can only reiterate how important it is just to take down slowly. Yeah? Take down the spot welds slowly. Yeah? Okay guys, so there we have it. Yeah, I'm happy enough with that. There's no distortion. It's nice and flat all the way along. and it joins the top panel just nice. Yeah. You might pick out 3 little dimples there. Look, I don't know if you can pick them up. The last time when you saw me grinding there with the finger grinder, that's the result of like staying a little bit too long. So that's how sensitive it can all be, yeah? So I may just put another 3 little, I don't know, or maybe just a little smidgen of Bondo, yeah? But you can see, right, how smooth it all is. Well, you can't see how smooth it is, but trust me, it's smooth, yeah? And underneath, yeah, all joined up nice and solid, yeah, with the bottom, okay? Yeah. So that's it, guys. That's the totality of it. I would only add that taking down the weld, right, and putting the weld on, that's the most laborious part of it. There's a lot of work in it. If you take your time, yeah, that's the result you'll have, right? Solid. What can I say? Little or no Bondo really required on that, yeah? Maybe, you know, just if there is, it's microns, you know what I mean? It's not going to be plastered onto it, okay? So there you have it, guys. She's looking good now, yeah? I hope you enjoyed the content, the tips and tricks, and really that's all that's to be said about it. It's really good finish on it, you know. That's what I was expecting. That's what we got. We only got it because we followed and you saw what I done. And if you have difficulty or you're only getting into this game, guys, those are the steps. This was a step-by-step in 3 parts. And you've seen there now how good that's turned out, right? Yeah. And it doesn't matter, like I said, it doesn't matter if it's the sill of your whatever, you know, Chevy or whatever. It's the same theory and principle behind this as it is, you know, anything else. It's the same principle. It's the same things you do to look after sheet metal work, 1mm body work, yeah? You know, so don't forget how to check the pitting, you know, with your little jabber. That's how where it all started off, with all these pieces. So, you know, I mean, when you see, yeah, that's what pitting looks like. And you can easily just go through, you know, with your little jabber. So, and it continues on, you know, eating away until it's like feather edge, like that. So guys, that's it. Gotta stick all this together now and get it done for you. I hope you liked it, yeah? And I don't think there was anything too difficult to follow. Basically, patience is, you know, patience is a virtue in this game, right? So, I ask of you, in your way of saying thanks, just hit the like if you haven't already, please, yeah? That's much appreciated. Share it if you want to share it. If you know someone that's doing a bus or needs help with similar work, by all means share it. Subscribe, click notifications, and that way that will bring you on to the next time I put something out, which is again in about a week's time. I might shove something in on Wednesday, I'm not sure yet, yeah? Yeah, that beetle needs a wash, and this is kind of getting ready for, you know, so we're nearly there, guys. Yeah, we're nearly there. I did say it would be the end of the month before I get this baby out, and you know, yeah, all going well. You see what I mean? There was a small hole, then a big hole, and that's how it goes, you know. You never can tell, you know. You have to get into it before you can get out of it, and God only knows, you know, how long it can take to get out, you know. Something that looks on the outside small, and as you've seen, it's massive on the inside, you know, and then you work your way out. Guys, I'm going to say ciao. Where are you, bust? Looks like I'm on my own.